Liverpool on one side, Manchester United on the other. It is the English derby. It is even the most followed derby in the world. Only 55 kilometres separates these two cities that have written the most beautiful pages of English football. If the two entities look like each other on a sporting level, their similarities will not bring them together. Quite the contrary. Manchester versus Liverpool is the story of a rivalry as old as the world. A rivalry that goes far beyond the realm of football and that inflames fans every year. What are the reasons for this? Hang on, we'll explain everything. Subscribe to Megafoot, the best of football in video. The opposition between Manchester United and Liverpool was initially economic. It was at the end of the 19th century, precisely in 1894. Both cities were in the same industrial area at the time. Manchester, anxious to control its own trade routes for the transport of textiles and to free itself from the port taxes of the famous port of Liverpool, fanned the flames with the opening of the Manchester Ship Canal. This event, which marked a breaking point between the inhabitants of the two cities, was such a source of pride that the ship appeared on the Man U logo. Whatever. The episode crosses generations and moves inevitably over the years on the green rectangle. If the antagonism between the two clubs is taking shape, they do not yet hate each other. They are rivals, not enemies yet. The real turning point came in the 1960s. Manchester United, under the impetus of its coach Matt Busby, won until 1968 7 English league titles and the first European championship in the history of English football. At the same time, Liverpool, who won the league between 1964 and 1966, became a serious rival. The Reds even took over completely and dominated England and Europe in the 1970s and 1980s. 10 league titles, 4 European Club Cups, 2 UEFA Cups and countless FA Cups and Community Shields. That's all there is to it. Manchester United, who had 7 coaches during this period, were almost relegated to the status of a relic of the past. It was not until the arrival of Sir Alex Ferguson in 1986 that Liverpool were knocked right off their fucking perch. The Scottish coach, who came from Aberdeen, completely restructured the club and focused his project on the training of young players who would later become legends. The symbiosis is total. The Red Devils, led by the emblematic Eric Cantona, were crowned champions of England in 1993 after a 26-year drought. The founding act of more than 20 years of glory, during which Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United won 39 trophies, including 13 Premier Leagues and 2 Champions League titles. Liverpool, on the other hand, spent the next 30 years struggling. The so-called Scousers consoled themselves with 2 more Champions League titles and a C3, reinforcing their status as the most successful club on the European stage. Beyond the trophies and their claim to constantly rule the UK, this deep-seated rivalry has greatly influenced the choices of both clubs for decades. It's simple. Since 1964 and Phil Chisnell, there has been no direct transfer between the two clubs. There were even whispers that players' contracts would forbid them to leave their team for the rival club. Argentine Gabriel Heinz, who wanted to join Liverpool, knows something about this. A few players have worn both shirts, but there has always been at least one club in between. Finally, the opposition between the two clubs manifests itself greatly on and off the pitch. On the streets or in commercials, they all pride themselves on being the cradle of popular culture. Of that musical journey that has changed so many generations, Liverpool has its Beatles, Manchester has its Bee Gees or Oasis. On the pitch, tackles, cards, insults, fights, yes, all that smell of brimstone that makes derbies so appetizing. There is no shortage of that. To these antics can be added the dramatic episodes experienced by the two rivals and scorned on the altar of animosity by certain supporters. A minority of Red fans chanted indecently in reference to the air disaster that plunged Manchester United into mourning, and a minority of Red Devils fans responded with verses evoking the tragedies of Heysel and Hillsborough. And if today the extra-sporting relations between the two clubs seem to be pacified, the truth on the pitch still proves that Manchester vs Liverpool is the most awaited match in England. What memories do you have of Manchester and Liverpool? If you liked our video, don't hesitate to talk about our channel around you, to like it and to share it.